Outlander's Jamie Fraser, played by Sam Heughan, is one of the most dashing heroes on television. Regardless, some fans have opinions that contradict the general admiration of the handsome Scotsman. What are the opinions that Redditors have which have given millions of fans some food for thought? Also, are there things about Jamie Fraser that seem just too much, like how he takes beatings for others? Why do we find Jamie Fraser cringeworthy? First up, here are some reasons why we find Jamie Fraser completely cringeworthy. Firstly, every woman wants a guy who will devote his life to her. Yet, at times, Jamie Fraser's love for Claire borders on the ridiculous. Even their relationship isn't your typical love story. When the English Redcoats were hunting Claire, Jamie intervened to marry her, partly to protect her. Female viewers fawn over Jamie's heartfelt sentiments, but occasionally they can be over the top and even a little embarrassing. However, one wouldn't hold this against the developing Jamie Fraser. The second is about his scars. Jamie has numerous scars on his back, and viewers may be curious about them as the handsome man bares his toned torso and reveals the scars. Jamie was beaten while defending his sister Jenny, which caused the scars. While impressive, Jamie's theatrical interventions are occasionally cringeworthy. Next, he was beaten again. One of the reasons fans adore Jamie Fraser so much is that he has a kind heart. However, he frequently receives beatings and bears the brunt of other people's punishment. Jamie performed yet another act of selflessness by accepting Leary's punishment for her irresponsible behavior. Next, he falls hard and fast. The viewers are drawn in by how quickly Jamie falls for Claire. He even said he desired her from the first minute he saw her. His words are so lovely, but sometimes viewers may realize that they are also cringeworthy after the moment has passed. This obviously is what makes the series so compelling to binge watch. We are now halfway through the list of why Jamie Fraser is cringeworthy. Next, recall how Claire visits Scotland in the 18th century and meets Jamie there? At the time of her time travel rendezvous, she was still wedded to Frank, the man she had fallen in love with in 1946. Jamie responds incredibly well when Claire tells him this. He responded too well, actually, but he is a man of love. Also, Jamie is kind of gullible. The fact that Claire actually went back in time has allowed her to spend time with her beloved Jamie Fraser. The issue is how fast Jamie believes that Claire has traveled across time. Yes, she did time travel, but if Jamie can accept this without hesitation, what else is he prepared to accept? He should have had a tougher difficulty accepting Claire's explanation of why she traveled across time to meet him, don't you think? Next, his puffy sleeves. Everyone wants to be smitten by a handsome man wearing a stylish kilt and puffy sleeves. However, sometimes it seems impossible for someone as handsome and kind-hearted as Jamie Fraser to exist, not to add the puffy sleeves and kilt. Yes, it gives female viewers a good-natured cringe. Lastly, he basically has a quote every time. Jamie Fraser is replete with admirable sayings. Each episode featured a quote from him that was befitting a Charlotte Bronte novel. For example, "Don't be afraid, there are the two of us now," which is Jamie's way of telling Claire that he has wanted her from the first moment he saw her. Such quotes are simultaneously cringeworthy and make female hearts skip a beat. Next up, 10 unpopular opinions about Jamie according to Reddit. Firstly, Jamie and Claire are unlucky for each other. According to a Redditor, Claire and Jamie take turns making trouble for each other and are sickly unlucky. While it is true that the legendary couple frequently gets into mischief while gallivanting around, it could be incorrect to infer that they are bad for one another and even unfortunate. These two represent the most passionate love story ever, despite being separated by several centuries. If they do end up in difficulty, that is their fate. This fan's viewpoint is somewhat unexpected, considering how much stronger Claire and Jamie are when they are together. Secondly, Jamie and Claire use people. According to a Redditor, Jamie and Claire constantly lie to people, use them, and put them in peril. This is in accordance with the previous opinion. Again, the pair typically battles for what they see as fair and just. Jamie has consistently been shown to support Claire, who is the strongest female Outlander character with strong beliefs and contemporary viewpoints. Most fans would concur that this is a pair that has been thrown into something exceptional and great, and they make the best of the circumstances, attempting to help others and bring about improvements in the past. Thirdly, Jamie did not treat Claire well in Paris. A Redditor claimed that Jamie mistreated Claire when he was in Paris. Following the tragic events of Wentworth Prison in Season 1, the fan acknowledges that the handsome Scot was going through it in Season 2, dealing with assault and PTSD, but they think Jamie was unjustifiably angry with Claire when she began working at the hospital and he was off having a duel with Randall. Although the fan does acknowledge that Jamie's annoyance with Claire was unjustified, what he was going through at the moment was unbelievable. He was so fixated on getting even with Blackjack Randall that he was unable to think clearly. Although Jamie is almost ideal as a person, there may be times when he comes off as a little imperfect. It merely adds a little bit more flesh and blood to him, if anything. Next, Jamie no longer looks his age. A Redditor made the amusing but unusual observation that Jamie appears significantly younger than his character's supposed age in the show. The Redditor asked rhetorically if they were supposed to believe that Jamie was 50 years old. Honestly, no one can argue with that. While Jamie may make for an extraordinarily attractive 50-year-old, Sam Heughan did a fantastic job portraying the dashing Highlander. Fans who have followed the character's journey since Season 1 have noticed that he has aged naturally naturally, and whether or not this is realistic, they aren't complaining. Fifth on the list, Jamie scenes have become unwarranted. The amount of attention the show has received from viewers all over the world hasn't particularly impressed a particular Redditor. The fan claims that scenes were great at first, but then they became unnecessary and at times hard to watch. Regardless of whether they irritate this fan or not, most would concur that the love scenes, when artistically filmed, increase the suspense of the narrative. They reaffirm Jamie and Claire's on-screen chemistry and why they are soulmates in Outlander. They do this without titillating, and the romance evolves along with the characters. We are now going into the second half of unpopular opinions about Jamie, according to Reddit. The next opinion is that Jamie was objectified throughout the series. Jamie has been disturbingly objectified throughout the series, according to a Redditor. They also claimed that in the first season, when James served primarily as Claire's love interest, he was a one-dimensional character. There is no denying that the series has plenty of steamy moments. This opinion is unpopular because few people would have interpreted those moments the way this Redditor has. It would be debatable to describe him as one-dimensional though. Even though he may not have many different personality facets, he is complex and has the ability to experience a whole range of emotions. Seventh on the list is that Jamie betrayed Claire. By the time Claire went back to the 18th century after Frank's passing, Jamie had wed Leary, one of the most despised Outlander characters. A Reddit thread explores how marrying the lady who nearly killed Claire during the terrible witch hunt was a blatant betrayal of Claire Fraser. The user rants, saying that what Jamie did was terrible. The fact that Jamie married Leary can't be denied, but at least it can be claimed that Jamie had practically given up hope of ever seeing Claire again, and over time, the characters develop. Even Leary would have seemed like a prospective partner after spending so much time alone, and Jamie wouldn't have said no when Jenny set up their match. Next, Jamie and McNabb. A Redditor made an odd point, wondering if fans would have responded the same way to Leary and Jamie's nuptials if he had wed the widow McNabb, with whom he had at least one affair. The user queries, because they didn't have any animosity toward Mary to begin with, many people believe they would have been more receptive to McNabb and Jamie. They wouldn't necessarily be in support of Jamie leaving Mary McNabb the moment Claire resurfaced in his life. This is because she hadn't been put up as Claire's rival and hadn't attempted to have her killed as Leary had. Ninth on the list, Jamie and Claire don't always make sense. A Redditor believes that the lovers' relationship doesn't often make sense, especially given the couple's inability to communicate with one another. This is a wildly unpopular opinion. This opinion completely goes against the trend of the majority, who admire the couple and would quickly overlook any flaws or lack of realism, given that their passion is the center of this epic love story. Jamie and Claire are romance goals for the drooling Outlander viewers. Lastly, on today's list of unpopular opinions about Outlander's Jamie, he lacks curiosity about the future. Finally, a Redditor expresses surprise at Jamie Fraser's apparent lack of interest in the future, asking if he doesn't wonder what the world will look like in 200 years. Despite being aware that his wife is from the future, he rarely discusses it and doesn't appear overly surprised by events that, in theory, should make him wonder. According to local lore, Jamie occasionally shows interest in a few things, like photos and airplanes, but he doesn't spend too much time thinking about the future advancements because Jamie was born 200 years ago, so they are genuinely beyond his grasp. That brings us to the end of today's video. What do you think about the opinions that Redditors have about Jamie Fraser? Do you also find Jamie Fraser cringeworthy? Let us know in the comment section. Please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.